If you're a facilities manager at a university, you know students rely on the cafeteria for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the occasional late-night snack. So when a dishwasher breaks down and dirty plates pile up, the mess hall can turn messy in the blink of an eye. Enter Grainger. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast delivery, the product you need now is never far away. So you can turn that dishwasher back into a lean, clean washing machine. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, right. Merry Christmas. Look over here. Okay, we're good. Merry Christmas, and welcome to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. Ho, ho, ho. Hey, today is December 22nd, 2017, and we are live. This show is brought to you by emailrevealer.com. You can go to emailrevealer.com, get an autographed copy of my book, How to Become a Successful Private Investigator. Also, too, we got all different kinds of services for you on there. If you think your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend is cheating on you, you can give us their email address, and they'll trace it back to online dating websites and catch them cheating online. And so you give them your boyfriend's email address, and they'll trace that back to personal ads and dating sites that it's registered on, give you a list of all the sites that your boyfriend or your girlfriend is using. Dating websites. Also, too, asset searches, locates. A lot of people want to locate long-lost relatives and loved ones around the holidays. And if you've been separated by the adoption process, we've been separated from your biological parents, your biological children, we also do adoption investigations at emailrevealer.com. Okay. Coming up tomorrow, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I have Brian Heiss. I get everybody's name wrong. And Brian, I know him. I have Brian Heiss coming on the show, and he's going to be talking about O.J. Simpson stuff. A lot of interesting stuff. We go over a lot of old stuff that a lot of people take for granted. Like the whole story about the shoes, the Bruno Magli shoes. Some great information he has on that. We had a lot of technical difficulties, but I think you'll enjoy the show still. A lot of great content. We talk about the story about Woz, the guy who was in jail, who claimed that he stole Paula Barberia's car, and he claimed that he was hired to follow Nicole. He had this diary, this notebook, and all this kind of, a story that I kind of gave a lot of credibility to over the years. But Brian lays it all out for us. So a lot of great content there with Brian Heiss. Coming up tonight after this show is Pierce Redmond, Porkins Policy, and he has J.P. Stottle on his show. I've never actually heard J.P. Stottle, but everybody seems to really enjoy him, and he's on a lot of people that I respect. He goes on Chuck Ocelli, he goes on John Barber, and he goes on Pierce Redmond all the time. 3 hosts that I carry on my stations. So that I produce for them, and I put them on Awake. They're on my iTunes and iHeart and all that stuff. So I got to check out this guy, J.P. Stottle. Maybe get him on the show. Maybe he'll be my favorite guest in the future. All right, let's see. Hey, okay. I have coming up, what's the guy's name? I can't find it right now. But one of the witnesses to the Son of Sam shootings, I have him coming on. Zano. I think it's Billy Zano. He's a good guy. I got to get back to him. A bunch of good stuff coming up. I can't think off the top. Oh, I did it right. I was interviewed today by Barry Prince. I was interviewed this morning at 8 o'clock in the morning by Barry Prince. And that'll be going up in the members section at OppermanReport.com. We just get into a lot of... I don't really know what we were talking about. It was so early. And we were just talking about Trump and the U.S. politics, because he's up there in Canada. All those Canadians. Okay. I've had some week, guys. I have had some week. And hopefully I'll get to all of it tonight. I'm supposed to go to a party tonight. And as a matter of fact, out here in Vegas, they have these things called mansion parties, where you'll rent a mansion, a real serious mansion, you know. And they'll throw private parties. It's catered and stuff like that. And so this is an office party that's being held at one of these mansions. If you know the Vegas area, this is down in one of these big giant houses down there, like down by on Bermuda, down South Las Vegas Boulevard, off of Bermuda down there. And so they're big giant houses. They're old, and they have big giant horses, property and stuff like that. So this is down there, and it's supposed to be catered and like real big shot deal here. And I tried to get out of it. I really don't want. I get tired after this, man. I'm producing 3 hours of content for you tonight, and this has been a particularly rough week. I'll be getting into that. I finally bought a car, by the way, and I tried to get out of this. And I don't know if they want me to mention the company on the show or whatever, or that's why they want me there so bad. But they're actually sending a car for me. They're sending a car to come pick me up, and me and my date. You know, they're sending a car to get us. So it's pretty cool, you know, and to take us home, you know, later on. So you know, I don't know. I guess you can't. What do you say? No. What's your excuse? You know what? Maybe the car will show up. I won't answer the door. I don't know, because I'm pretty wiped out. I had a rough week, which is why I named the show. Corey Story Circus. Oh, my God. Now, I must be getting old, you know, because I've been through this kind of thing before. For people who don't know the show, if you just listen for the first time, I'm the guy who handled the Tiger Woods case. Okay, that was my case. I'm a private investigator. I was hired by the agent for that story, who was, and all the girls, the Tiger Woods mistresses, were coming forward. And we had to vet out their story to see who was telling the truth, who was really a mistress, and who was making it up, so that they could promote their stories and sell their stories and get them publicity and do all kind of stuff with them. And, you know, it's a marketing gig. So I've been down this road before with this kind of chaos and women, you know, who don't get along with each other and fighting, and, you know, and different stories, you know. So, you know, I thought when I saw this Corey Feldman story with these Corey Angels, I said, well, this is right up my alley. I could do this. This would be a piece of cake. I'm going to tell you what really, I think it's important for the listeners, if you're trying to make up your mind about this story, you know, who's telling the truth, who's credible, who's not credible. I'm going to share with you some of the behind-the-scenes information of what went on with this story since I've gotten involved. And I'm uninvolved at this point. I'm done. This was the last show I'm doing on this story. I don't care what comes up next. I don't care if Corey Feldman goes on a shooting spree on the top of the Mandalay Bay. I am not dealing with this stuff any longer after this. Okay? All right? Give me a little preview of my week. I was first contacted by Judy Haim a couple of months back. Okay? I had done a show with Mike Parziali, and we had talked about the whole Corey Feldman thing, about him doing this movie and all this. And Judy Haim somehow heard the show, and she heard me telling Mike that, hey, if Corey Feldman wants to reveal who this pedophile ring is and all this stuff like that, he should contact me, and I'll help him out. I'll get him a lawyer. I'll get him security, and we'll put the whole thing together for him. Okay? Because I have experience in this field of doing this kind of thing. I've been involved in 24-hour news stories in the past, you know, big ones, the biggest ones. Wienergate, Zimmerman. I've done all this stuff. You know, congressional investigation. I handled the whole Sarah Palin thing. You know? So I try to help Judy Haim out off the air. Okay, originally not even considering doing an interview with her, and I put her in touch with a lawyer who this is right up his alley. Now, whatever went on between her and the lawyer, okay, that's attorney-client communication. I'm not hired on that case. I don't know what went on between. I didn't ask either of them what went on in their conversations, but I'll tell you this: it's not continuing. It's not moving forward for whatever reason. I had a conversation with Judy Hain. We talked for hours on the phone. She told me the whole story from start to finish. I offered the opportunity for her to come on the show. Okay, she agreed to come on the show several times on our live Thursday morning broadcast, where she knew this was a live Thursday morning broadcast. Okay, and twice she bailed out on me on the last minute. Didn't come on the show. Okay, can't make it, Ed. Several appointments we had for phone calls, couldn't make it. No, didn't show up. The show you listen to tonight with Mara Moon and Poena, what's her name? Stuttered? Poena is a delightful woman. Okay, she's a lovely woman. I had no problems with Poena whatsoever. And in dealing with these angels and people who purport to represent the angels and former angels and all this stuff, they all seem to be telling the same story. Okay, and from talking to them, there is a ring of truth there. You can hear the truth and them confirming each other's stories. So I believe that they all have a lot of credibility in listening to their stories and evaluating their stories off the air and on the air. Okay, I don't think we can question that something very creepy is going on in that house over there. With these angels, and that he has this website where he's luring these women to come and stay with him and sign these non-disclosure agreements. Like there's a creep factor there that's off the charts. But again, when we're judging people's credibility and their integrity and their honesty and their character. Okay. After I did the interview with Mara Moon, Judy Haim asked me for a copy of that interview. So I sent it to her. And she says, well, can we publish this? And I says, no, you can't, because it hasn't aired yet. It's going to air Saturday. And I had a whole plan, too. We were going to do Judy Haim Thursday morning, and then we were going to roll this out Saturday. So then the whole weekend would be a whole weekend of this stuff all in one big package for people that are interested in this story. But what Judy did was she took that and she circulated it to a number of people who then took it and posted it on their Facebook and their Twitter and all over the place. Now, you may say, well, Ed, you're being a little thin-skinned here. They're on the show. Okay. I have a commitment, okay, to several stations who air my show, that each week I'm going to provide them with new, original content, quality content, and I take that commitment seriously, okay? And if someone takes my work without my permission and they publish it when I tell them not to, I believe something's been stolen from me, okay? I believe that I've been abused, okay? That. Especially on top of when you give someone your time, you try and help them. Okay, you give them advice. People pay for my advice. Okay, but when I give you my time and my help for free, I guess you think, well, we can just take advantage of this guy and just use him with no consideration. And that's what happened. And I'm very upset about it. Okay, I'm very upset about it. That when I'm promoting a show and people tell me, well, Ed, why are you promoting this show? It's all over the place. Everyone's heard it already. Okay? You know what I mean? And people give me this airtime on their stations because they know that I'm going to bring them a quality, unique, new product, not something that's been regurgitated all over the internet. There's also the issue of... Because I've been trying to help a lot of these women get lawyers, okay, to protect their rights and protect their interests. Because I believe that they all do have legitimate lawsuits here, okay? I believe there's been sexual harassment. I believe that there's been workplace harassment. Obviously, they haven't paid their wages. That can all be proven. It's what they've reported to me. This is what I believe. But I would communicate this with the women, and then Judy Hayne would come back to me and say, well, no, there's no lawsuit. They don't want, especially, they don't want any lawsuits. Okay? So, and there's another issue, too, when I'm talking to these women. And we seem to be connecting. We seem to be communicating. And then they're holding things back from me. And even in the interviews, they're holding things back on the air. But then they have to go and talk to someone else before they can make any kind of commitment. They need to check with someone else. In all of this, okay, there's another party involved. I don't know who it is, but there's someone else involved in all this who is the shot caller in all this that everybody needs to go back and check with. And that's my personal testimony, my personal experience in dealing with these people. Some of it is Judy Hayne. They need to go back and check with Judy Hayne. Okay? For better, she's been dealing with this for 10 years. She's gotten nowhere with it. But they all seem to feel they need to check with her. But there seems to be another party, okay, that they're all checking with as well. I don't know who. It can't be a lawyer because they're coming to me for a lawyer. I don't know. Anyway, so just take that into consideration. And I know a lot of people, a lot of people aren't going to change their minds on this. They either hate Corey Feldman or they love him. He's a truther. He's fighting for freedom. He's helping molested kids. He's going to out a pedophile ring, or he's a total con man. He's a creep. What? So there's these teams of people, okay? And I know none of you are going to, nothing's going to get through to you. You've made up your mind. There's a lot of hangers-on to this that are attracted to the publicity, that are all involved in the drama. And they're all feeding off the drama. They're all gossiping behind each other's backs and gossiping. Oh, there's a whole scene going on here. And I've seen this kind of thing before in other controversies that I've been involved in, which is why I'm out of this, man. Okay? And I know a lot of people, they have their minds made up, and you're going to contact me and say, well, Ed, this is what's really going on. What I'm telling you is I'm behind the scenes on this now for like a month. Spent a lot of my time on this for nothing. Okay? You know? So I'm really not interested in your opinion at this point on this case. Let's just say that. And I'm done with it. I would say if Poena gets in trouble and she needs my help, I'll help her out. I'll be happy to help her out. She seems like a very legitimate person. And I've taken into consideration, too. I know a lot of people might be saying, well, Ed, you're heartless, you know, and stick it out and do this and do that. I've taken into consideration that these are women who have been traumatized and lured across the country to go and be put in this vulnerable situation. And they are legitimately afraid of something. There's something that's frightening these women. I can tell you that for a fact, too. And a couple of them have slipped up, okay, and kind of let it be known who and what they're afraid of. And I can understand why they would be afraid. And that's why I'm not mentioning that publicly, because there probably is a legitimate threat there. And if they're not organized to face that kind of a threat, then they got a problem, you know. But the situation as it is now, this is a situation where they're all amateurs. This whole bunch is a bunch of amateurs on the Feldman side and on the other side, where like Feldman couldn't even put together a bus and wrangle a bunch of adult women on this bus and feed them and get them from place to place, you know, to do a concert and play their instruments. You know what I mean? They couldn't pull that off. And somehow they're afraid of lawsuits and non-disclosure agreements and all this kind of stuff. It's just insanity. You know what I mean? It's just a little too crazy for my blood. And I deal with this kind of stuff for a living. So, anyway, I hope I'm not. I hope I'm not being too harsh. And even though no one here has been a client of mine that I've taken them on as a client. Okay, so I'm not betraying any kind of private communications with anybody here. I could be subpoenaed if this thing works. I could be subpoenaed. What do I know? To take a deposition. What do I know about those? And I would have to, because I don't have that. We don't have that kind of relationship. But I am, even though there is no requirement for me to be to confidentiality. There's a lot I'm not saying. Okay. Because I don't even want to approach that line. So, anyway, there we are with that. What else is in the news? Okay, Track Palin. Okay, Track Palin, my God. For those of you who don't know, I was involved in this whole thing with Sarah Palin and Todd Palin. I had a client come to me who was a prostitute up there in Alaska who had a relationship with Todd Palin. And there was a lawsuit with the National Enquirer and all this stuff. It's a long story. Look it up and you can find it. So I have intimate knowledge of the Palin family. Okay. And we probably don't. I've gone over time already. So we don't have time to get into the whole Track Palin story tonight because I'm exhausted. And I haven't eaten either. I was planning to go. They promised me vegan food at this party too. I tell you, they really want me there. Maybe it's a hit. Maybe they're gonna come. They're gonna assassinate me when I get to this party. I'll walk into the room. The driver takes me over there. Right? We walk into the room and there's plastic all over the carpets and the walls. Uh-oh. It said too much. But this whole thing about the Palins over there in Alaska, and people are surprised somehow with the domestic violence cases, and this kid Track Palin getting on the roof and cursing out the cops, calling them peasants. He's on pills, and this is their life story with this bunch. I've reported on this over and over about their poker games, where this kind of stuff happened every week. With the Palins, before she was picked to be the vice president. They were notorious in that town of the stuff they're up to. So I don't have the Track Palin information in front of me, but he got a domestic violence arrest this week. Fascinating case. One more thing that came out this week that I wanted to touch on that's not in my title. But this thing about how Harry Reid had come up with this idea to investigate UFOs, and then they released this video of these fighter pilots chasing this tic-tac-shaped UFO, doing all these obstacles and stuff. One thing that's very important to that story that people need to know about is one of the people involved in this disclosure and this investigation into the UFOs and stuff like that is a guy named Bob Bigelow. And he's touted in the articles about this as Bigelow Aerospace, and he's involved in building rockets. People need to know the real Bob Bigelow, okay, because he's a local guy here in Vegas. And the way he made his fortune was from the budget suites. Go back and look up my show about the budget suites. Hey, that's interesting because I said bust my budget. It's about something else, but the budget suites, it fits. This is all. It's all coming together. Bob Bigelow owns these long stay motels here in Vegas called the Budget Suites, where it's an open crime market. This is where the prostitution goes on. This is where drug dealing. Every one of these hotels is filled with prostitutes and drug dealers, and they're in the worst neighborhoods. And they're paying like $1,200 a month for this little tiny motel room, and they can never get out of the cycle and get a real apartment, because they can't pay for the utilities. They can't get so he's really banking off the misery of these people, and he's preying on them. He's a predator. Preying on people's misfortune and misery, their drug addictions, and their bad credit and their inability to get a start in life, to get a leg up, and just anybody else who would have properties where there's when there's this degree of drug sales and prostitution going on, you'd think that they would shut down that chain of properties. They would say, well, listen, you're promoting crime. So anything that Bob Bigelow is involved in, I am suspect of. It is not in our best interest. I can tell you that, right off the bat, without even considering it. So whatever's being released about this UFOs and they're chasing UFOs and whatever's going on there, if Bob Bigelow's involved, there's something hinky, shady going on that I don't like. So we'll just leave it at that. Okay. A lot of people, I was running that big member section sale for $60. I was given 13 months for $60, right? Because I needed to raise money to get a car. All right, I got a great car. I got a deal on a car. Thankfully, you know who hooked me up with this deal? Remember when I did the show about the Bernie Sanders delegates getting arrested, and I broke on the air live, and all the stations let me go on live? And we reported from the convention, the Clark County Convention live, with the chairman of the credentials committee, and they were all having a sit-in, and they were passing the phone around, and the cops were right there about to arrest them. We kept them from getting arrested. One of those women who was there sitting down hooked me up with this deal with this car. She had a friend, and I got a 2006 Lexus. It's a $50,000 car when it was new. And today it's worth like $7,500, but I got it for $3,500, And it's a beautiful car. It's got the navigation, it's got the backup camera, and all this was brand new when this car first came out. It was like brand new technology, the heated leather seats, So me and Vic, my daughter, were just driving around this car. Man, we've just been so. This is the nicest car she's ever seen me drive since she's been around. My whole life I'd always bought brand new cars until my divorce and all that kind of stuff. I lost everything. So this poor kid, she's never driven in a car like this with me before. Only when we rented cars, right? So, and one of the reasons, the ways I was able to get this car, I had to borrow some money. I took a loan for $2,500, is by repairing my credit. And I'm writing this book about credit repair, debt negotiation, asset protection, how to hide your assets, how to find hidden assets. It's going to be how to drastically improve your credit score overnight, quickly. I know all these tricks, how not to get into debt, how to avoid getting into debt, and there's all kinds of ways too that even if you have bad credit, ways you can borrow money without a credit check. So, and this is all going to be in this book. I'm working on it almost every day. I go down to these nice little coffee shops, these local coffee shops. I go in there and work on the book. So keep your eye out on that. But okay, let's break here. We'll do a little commercial break, and I'll come back after this, and I'll finish up. I'll tell you about my bust my budget, and the last line there is we will all face. It's supposed to say judgment. We're all going to face judgment, and I don't know if I can even get into that because it's just such a heavy topic, and I got to go to a party after this. They're inviting me to this party because they say I'm funny, so I have to. Oh my God! I gotta get out of here. Hey, where's this thing? I got this new guy helping me out with the cleaning up the audio before we broadcast, and he re-recorded the ads for me. I'll play this old one. Okay, we'll be right back after these messages. And now a word from our sponsors. Archival Revival, the Christian Film Archive, is currently paying for vintage Christian films. They are dedicated to preserving and restoring classic Christian films and media. So if you have original prints, negatives, or other film elements of classic Christian films, or you have audio recording masters for classic Christian record albums, they want to buy them from you. So email archival.revival@gmail.com and they're going to make you an offer. Archival Revival wants to preserve these classic Christian films so that they continue saving people for years. These films have brought people to salvation. They want to continue that. Their staff has decades of experience in handling and preserving of film elements, utilize the very best climate-controlled film storage facilities around the world. contact them today at archival.revival@gmail.com. If there's someone you know has these prints, negatives, recording masters, or other materials from vintage Christian films, you can check out their blog at archivalrevival.blogspot.com. Now, just so you understand, Archival Revival wants to pay you for these films. So you can look in your church attic, in the church basement. If you have a friend who runs a Christian youth ministry, these youth vacation Bible study camp, they have these old films in those big metal containers, 16 millimeter and 35 millimeter. Archival Revival wants to buy them from you. So this is a sponsor that actually wants to give you money. And all you have to do is contact them, tell them what you have. If you're in the UK or Ireland or Africa, these films are all over the world, and they're gathering dust, and they're going to deteriorate if they don't get into the hands of Archival Revival. So that's archival.revival@gmail.com, or the blog spot is archivalrevival.blogspot.com. Don't forget, this show is brought to you by pscoco.com. Phoebe Sod is an independent curator with the Cocoa Exchange. The Cocoa Exchange is formerly known as Dove Chocolate Discoveries, and they make the finest silky smooth chocolate because the products start with the best cocoa beans, which are tested for quality and flavor by expert technicians. The Cocoa Exchange offers not just premium chocolates, but anything from sauces and spices to brownie and cake mixes, and even coffee and martini mixes. If you wish to treat yourself or someone you love to a sweet and tasty gift, then the Cocoa Exchange is the brand for you. So you go to pscoco.com, you click on the Shop Now button. You can see all their beautiful chocolates. You can order it right now tonight. It could be in your mailbox in a couple of days. Or if you want to get into the chocolate business, you want to be a chocolatier just like Phoebe Sod, click the Contact Us button, and you can learn how to get your own website, go into the cocoa chocolate business, and sell chocolate and make a little bit of money there. Remember, all these shows on Awake are brought to you by emailrevealer.com. You can go to emailrevealer.com and get a copy of my book, How to Become a Successful Private Investigator. But you also do all kinds of different services for you. An online dating service investigation. It's called an online infidelity investigation. And that's where you give us your husband or your boyfriend, your girlfriend's email address, and we trace it back to their online dating websites, and we return a list of all the dating sites that email is registered to. We can expand on that investigation and trace it back to porn sites, escort service sites, swinger sites, gambling websites, and even prescription drug websites. If you think your ex-husband or something is addicted to prescription medication, or involved in an extreme online pornography addiction, we can produce a report for you that you can use in court. Adoption investigations. If you want to locate your birth parents or your birth child you gave away for adoption, we can do adoption investigations for you. Asset searches for you. Locate bank accounts, hidden assets, hidden properties, hidden income, all different kinds of services in the asset search investigation. Email tracing. If you need to locate or identify somebody from just an email address, we can do an email trace investigation for you, and all kinds of digital forensics, computer and cell phone digital forensics, where we can recover deleted content from an email or a hard drive and produce a report for you that you can use in court. That's emailrevealer.com, or you can contact me at oppermaninvestigations@gmail.com. Okay, welcome back. Welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman. And welcome back. Trying to get this going. Second part of the show is Bust My Budget. Now, I explained to you that what happened was my car broke down. I had a good deal on that car too, man. But the car broke down, and we needed a new car. It was too expensive to fix. Okay, so I did the membership deal. And all the listeners came through for me. You bought the memberships. Some people sent donations and stuff like that. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate this. You have no idea how kind the kindness of this audience and your support means to me. But I think I take this serious. The work I do here. Anyway. So I needed to go shop around for a new car. So I went and I rented a car, right? I didn't go back to Avis after they towed my car. People know that story. So I went to Budget Rent a Car over here on Eastern, right? Go to Budget Rent a Car, and I shopped around, man. Because I needed a deal, because I got to save money, right? I shopped around, and I got a coupon from Groupon, that Groupon.com website, and I got a deal. $150 $117 for 5 days for this car. Okay? Great deal. And in fact, I was telling everybody I ran into. No, I think it was like for 7 days it was. Well, anyway, whatever. I got this great deal on the car. It came out to like $12 a day. And I tell everybody I run into, so, I got a great deal on this rental. And they told me, and if I said, well, what if I need the car for longer because I'm shopping around to buy a new car? They says, just call us up and extend it. There's a $10 extension fee, but you keep it at the same rate, which is $117, right? Lucky me. So I'm driving this car out. So it turns out I did have to extend it. Okay, I had the car all picked out. I was able to get this great deal on this Lexus. And I got it for half the price of what it's worth. It's worth like $7,500. I got it for $3,500 because of one of the local activists here who put me onto this deal. You know, so don't ever say that being involved in local activism isn't good for you. It helped me. Okay. She hooked me up with this guy. We negotiated the deal. Got this great freaking deal. This car is the best car I've driven in years. It drives like a brand new car. And I checked all the maintenance records at Lexus and stuff like that, and we know everything's wrong with this car. Excellent condition. So I need to go pick up so I bring back the rental car, right? And I'm there, and I'm all in a great mood because I got this great new car. Me and Vic came over. We're going to go pick up the car. We're taking an Uber to get the car. And, I give the guy my card. He charges it, And I knew I was paying the same rate, so I didn't even look at the receipt. Okay, my mistake. I should have looked at it right there. I would have strangled this guy if I would have known what he was trying to pull on me. And later that night, I get home, and I check my PayPal account, because I want to see how much money I have on my PayPal account. And I see that when I dropped off the card, instead of the guy charged me another $117 for the next week, he charged $320 on Saturday, the day I picked up the car. So, the place was closed, so I called up, I left a message, and I says, hey, man, you guys charged me $320. You're out of your mind. So I'm only supposed to be paying you $117. I said, I'm not paying this. Sunday goes by, Monday goes by, Tuesday goes, no phone call from them. No, I actually called up the 800 number for budget, the main, call center. And the guy says, oh, yeah. No, your rate is $117. They can't do that. But they're independently owned, so we can't really tell them what to do. But if you have any problem, we'll tell you how to handle it. Just get back to us. They'll release those funds for you in a couple of days. And if they don't, just get back to us and we'll. Okay, so I figured, everything's fine. They're going to release my funds, Tuesday night, I check again, I log in, and there's no money in my PayPal. There's nothing in there, okay? Because not only did they charge me, did they take $320 out, they came back and took another $485 out. They took out $800. Which, the bill was supposed to be $100, and they took $800 out. So now, and you know me, man. Now I'm on fire, man. I'm loading up the guns, man. And it was too late. And I'm calling every number I have. I'm screaming at these people. But they're closed. And now when I call their number, the voicemail is like shut down. So now I'm starting to get nervous because there's a little shady operation here, and. When I call up the 800 number, they says, well, you know what? Well, we really can't. We have no control over them, and we can't tell them what to do. And they're not in our system where they don't participate in our system that when you call them up, it rolls over to the 800 service, and they'll make reservations for you and stuff like that. So we're not aware of what their contracts are and what they're doing over there. They're independent. People need to be aware of this, okay? Because it seems to me that, especially here in Vegas, that the car rental companies, this is a haven here, for them to be just overcharging people and abusing people. So, I'm going back and forth with budget, and they're not getting back to me at this location. I call them up during the daytime, and I get a hold of the woman who rented me the car, who told me, oh, yeah, don't worry, you can renew it at the same rate. And she says, oh, yeah, I know all about this. And she's all nervous, because I'm like a lunatic. People... And especially, I'll tell them, I'll say, Google my name, look me up. Okay, look up Ed Opperman congressional investigation. So she tells me, she says, "Oh yeah, the district manager is handling this. Her name is Lori. Here's her number, and call her up. She's taking care of this. The reason why we charged you for that was the mileage." And I was saying, "Well, mileage?" I said, "It says right here, mileage unlimited." Right? So now you'd think that would mean, well, you have unlimited mileage, right? No, I think it means that they can charge your card an unlimited amount. Okay? That's what that really means. When we say unlimited, that means that we can just charge anything we want. Unlimited. There's no limit to what we're going to charge on your card. Oh, my God. Hey, so finally, after, and the thing is, they never called me back. She called me back after I did a dispute on the credit card. I did a chargeback, which is, if there's an unauthorized charge on your card, you can call up. Anyway, so back and forth with them. Finally, I got my money back. I got a full refund of everything they tried to steal from me. And they actually charged me less. It was only $87 because I thought it was going to be $127, but there was one day that I didn't use. So I actually gave them, when I did the chargeback, I gave them more money than they even deserved. So I'm getting all that back. But just imagine how many people there are who don't even keep track of this, man, and get overcharged by these huge amounts, and don't fight it. Don't think they can fight it, and don't think that, just get walked all over. Or maybe they live in a foreign country. They don't really speak the language, and they don't have a radio show. And they don't have a lifetime of experience like I've had to know the resources. You don't know you can call your credit card and dispute a debt. So, yeah, how many people out there just get taken advantage of over and over and over again? There's another car rental place here in town where, I was online there once to rent a car, and I just saw what was going on. I walked out because they were just scamming people. It was like a timeshare place where when you got to the counter, you're up there for an hour. And we're going back and forth with these people signing, I checking off something I agree never to be involved in a class action suit against your company, And their thing was they took a hold on your card too, like a $600 hold. If you're a local, you couldn't do it though. There was only people out of town. Sure, if you're out of town, you can't go in there and start screaming at them and fight them for the money back. They just take your money and steal it. And it seems like here in town, it's a haven for these car rental places to get away with this. Because I'm just noticing it over and over. But thank God I won't have to rent a car again after this. But what I'm thinking of doing is I'm going to do like a monthly op on your side or Ed on your side, where I'll take consumer complaints and help you fight these battles for you. And we'll do like a special show, about it, If you've been ripped off or something like that, we'll do a special show. So wait till I announce it. Don't everyone contact me right away. Oh, wait, I got a problem. Okay. But you know what? I want to say one more thing, too, though. Because there are a lot of people who are supporters of the show and you're members and you donate and stuff like that. And you get into problems and you get into trouble. And you think that, I don't want to bother Ed, Don't feel that way. There was a very nice woman who supported the show for years, especially when it was a small show years ago. And she had a problem this year where with her aunt it was like elder abuse. Her aunt was being taken advantage of, and she felt hesitant to contact me to help her, And I don't want people to feel that way. If I can help you, I'll help you. I really will. I promise you, I really will. I got a soft spot in my heart for people like that, who are being taken advantage of. So I will help you, I don't want people to think that, Ed's so busy and I complain all the time, that I don't want to help the audience when I can, If it's a long, drawn-out litigation, stuff like that, yeah, I got to get paid. If there's someone paying the bills, yeah, I got to take a piece of that, But if you're in trouble, and you need my help, yeah, I'd love to help you, I really would. Now... Oh, boy. There's been a couple of stories the past couple of weeks. First of all, I just want to touch on one thing before I get to the prepared content. is there's a new thing came out just yesterday, and it's already making the rounds. Trump signed an executive order yesterday about human rights abuses, and it's directed toward immigration people, about how he can seize the assets of foreign citizens in this country if they're guilty of human rights abuses. And people are taking this. He signed an executive order yesterday, and people are taking this and they're twisting it into some bizarre theory that this has to do with Trump's battle against child trafficking and his soon-to-be sweep of international pedophile rings and all this kind of nonsense, and going around. So before you get caught up in that, I've read the whole executive order, okay, and it has nothing whatsoever to do with child trafficking. It's about human rights abuses, and it's targeted at immigrants and people from, and there's an annex to it. There's an addendum that you can read the people who, specific names that it's targeted to, and none of them have anything to do with pedophile rings or anything like that whatsoever. But for some reason, people want to distort this idea that somehow Trump is battling pedophiles. It comes totally from the ether. It's thin air. It comes from nowhere. Well, let me tell you something, man. Okay, there's a couple stories in the past couple of weeks I haven't touched on because we've been so busy. But one is a man named Daniel Shaver, who was fatally shot by Arizona police in the hallway of a hotel. Okay, and the cop that shot him was this guy, Philip Michael Mitchell Brailsford. Okay, and he was just acquitted on these charges of shooting this unarmed man. And then they released, after the acquittal, they released a video of him ordering this guy, we're going to shoot you, if you raise your hands, put your hands down, crawl to me, all this kind of craziness, man. The guy's crying in panic because he's about to get killed. And the thing is, man, this cop knew that when he got that call about a man with a gun in a hotel, he says, I'm justified right off the bat to go shoot this guy and kill him, no matter what happens, because I can legally say I'm in fear for my life. And that's all a cop has to say nowadays to get away with this, is I'm in fear for my life. Now, everyone's commenting about this all last week and stuff. And that's fine. This is pretty much an open and shut case that we can look at this and see that the cop was wrong, the cop should be convicted, and that this is just an abuse of power and a tragic death, of a needless death of an unarmed man, another unarmed man out there killed by the police. But that's not what I'm here to talk about tonight. What I'm here to talk about tonight is how can we stand by and watch this? How much longer can we stand by and watch these things happen before we're culpable? We're complicit in this. We are just as guilty as the man that pulled the trigger. If we don't stand up and do something about this right now, we are just as guilty as the guy who pulls the trigger, as the guy who's abusing the unarmed man, these police beatings, all of these things going on. We are just as guilty. There's another case down there in Orlando. It's a city called Eustis, Florida. And look up this case. It's a woman named Juanita Fitzgerald, 93 years old. And she has a birthday coming up, so she's going to be 94. And Juanita was living at this assisted living type apartment. It's run by some company has the name Churches in it. How wonderful is that? The National Church Residences. Doesn't that sound like a nice place to put your mother and your grandma? Oh, National Church Residences. That sounds like a nice place. I'll put my parents there. Because it says church, right? Juanita was having a problem with mold in her apartment. She called him. She contacted him. Hey, there's mold in my apartment. She's this poor, pitiful woman. She weighs like 60 pounds. You see the picture of this woman. Look it up. Her name is Juanita Fitzgerald, 93 years old, in Eustis, Florida. Eustis, Florida. Look up this story. Look up the pictures of this woman. And what she says happened was she complained about the mold, and I said, well, there's no mold here. And then they stopped taking her rent. They stopped accepting her rent. And then when time went by, it was time to evict this woman. They called the police. And the police came and took this woman, and they arrested this woman. 93 years old, was arrested for not paying her rent. And some cop showed up and said, yep, what I'm going to do is I'm going to arrest this woman and put her in jail. 93-year-old woman. Now, when they interviewed her from the jail, you can see the bruises on her arm. She's in handcuffs. And, she's in a locked room. Okay. You know, in a jail. And they got her in an orange jumpsuit and handcuffs because this little 93-year-old woman that weighs 60 pounds soaking wet is a threat to someone. She's a danger to someone in somebody's warped imagination. Now, in their own defense, this church residences company, National Church Residences, well, she didn't pay her rent for 3 months, and we tried to get her a number. We tried to put her in this place and that place, but she just wouldn't cooperate, so we had to call the cops. Someone at this freaking company thought it was a good idea to call cops on a 93-year-old woman and make her homeless. And some cop showed up and thought it was a legitimate idea to arrest her. In some bizarre alternative universe of reality, some guy, a human being, thought the thing to do here is arrest this woman. For some reason. What could be the reason? Now, I tell you this story, and I tell you the story about this cop over here in Arizona who shot this unarmed man. And it's the same. How long do we sit by and watch this happen? What has happened to us that we're not all outraged by this? And that we can sit in our chairs and we can go to sleep tonight and not up all night upset about these things. That we're not losing sleep. We're not, they used to talk in the Bible. They talk about the people would tear their clothes, and they would scoop up ashes and dirt and throw it on their heads because they were so upset about something going wrong, an injustice, a tragedy, a heartbreaking situation. But today somehow we have become so desensitized that every day we can go to get our little Starbucks coffee and we can literally step over a human being that's sleeping in the street of that doorway, sleeping in the doorway of the Starbucks coffee, and we'll step over his body to give them $6 for a cup of coffee. We've lost all perspective of human life, of human dignity, of just humanity. We've lost it. And it's hopeless at this point. It says in the Bible, you hear, everyone knows the story of the Good Samaritan. That story originates. I was going to look all this up, but I know it. The story originates because Jesus tells them you got to love your brother. And people say, well, who is my brother? Our brother is everyone out there. We're all brothers. Any other human is our brother. And the Good Samaritan, he ran across the road. The robbers had beaten this man. He took him, put him in a hotel and cleaned his wounds, paid for his hotel room. And I'm going to come back and check on him again. I'm going to pass through this town again. Take care of this man for me. Because he had consideration for his fellow man, his brother. There's another story in the Bible where on Judgment Day, we're going to go before our Maker. We're going to be judged, and he's going to say, get away from me. I don't know you. And you're going to say, well, what? I preached the gospel in your name. I cast out demons. I healed the sick. I prayed. I did all these things. So no. I don't know you because you turned your back on your brother. When you saw the man in the prison, you didn't go visit him. And I'm guilty of this. When you saw the man on the street who was poor and hungry, you didn't feed him. You didn't take care of him. I don't know you. Now, I'm not standing here telling you that I'm 100% innocent in all this. I'm just as guilty as everyone listening to the show. I drive past homeless people. What is in our minds that you can drive past a homeless person in the street and not stop the car and say, come in my car, I'll take you back to my house. You can take a shower and meal. You can sleep on the floor in my house. well, you can't do that because they're kind of crazy, you know, and they can rip you off, they can kill you. Well, that's true. But if we were all stepping up, you know, and helping the ones that before they get in the street and helping them get some mental health and care and stuff like that, then we wouldn't have to worry about that. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm making no sense tonight. Maybe I'm just... And I didn't want to end on this because, like I said, I have to go to a party tonight. You know? A party that's being thrown by nice people, yeah, you know. But a party that they're spending tens of thousands of dollars on this party. They're renting a mansion. I know that the cost, they decorated the place with lights and Christmas decorations. So I know that's an additional expense, plus the catering, the food, and the booze. And they're going to send me a car to go to this party, you know? Because they want me at this party because I'm so fun and entertaining, you know? And I got to end the show like this, which is a whole other story, you know? And I'm, you know, I like to have fun, you know? I really do. It's hard to believe, you know? But how can we go out and have fun when our fellow man is in the cold in the street? How can we do this? What disease is in my mind that I can shut that off and go and eat fancy vegan food being specially catered for me, you know, and expensive booze, you know? And I can shut that off in my mind and say, well, I'm going to go do it. Then I'm not going to go and pick up every little scrap of food that I could find and go take it and feed poor families. You know, in this party, I can steal everything at the party. You know what I mean? You know, going in with a rifle, man, and take everybody's wallets. You know, I don't know, man. You know, but if we can live in a situation where we can watch a video of some cop shooting some guy, making him crawl down a hallway and shooting at him, I was going to play the whole thing for you, but do I have to play that? You know. Everyone's heard it by now. Half of the people listening to the show's heard it. You know? Hey. Anyway. Merry Christmas. Monday is going to be Christmas Day. You know, I hope Santa's good to all of you. And remember the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ. All this is about, you know. You know. I don't have a guest booked for Thursday morning, you know, for next Saturday. But if I don't, I'll play a repeat. Because me and Vic might want to take a little trip. You know, we just got the new car. And we don't have to rent the car now, so we can... And we can camp in the back of this car, too, you know. The seats go back and stuff like that. It's a luxury vehicle. Hope you enjoyed the show. There's new content always being added to the member section at OppermanReport.com. My interview today with Barry Prince will be going up in there. But there's always new content in there. And there's a lot of really good exclusive stuff that's in there that you won't find anywhere else in the world. I do make an effort to bring you good content. And I do appreciate everybody who, when I sent out the email and went on the air and said that we needed to get a car, who went and bought the memberships and helped support the show and the work we're doing here. I appreciate every single one of you. I really do. Thank you so much. And I hope you all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'll see you before New Year because I hardly ever miss a show. Coming up after this is Pierce Redmond, who always has good content and good quality programming. I appreciate Pierce very much. So thank you so much, guys. Good night. And I'll see you. Well, tune in tomorrow night. You'll hear some good stuff. Oh, a bunch of people chatting away in the chat room.